The still life with a wash basin and water pitcher is an illustration of how people kept clean in the 19th century. As I painted it, I thought about Eilert Sundt, Norway's first sociologist and pioneer in researching how people lived. It was during his time that the concept of public health was first developed, along with guidelines for preventative medicine. These included the importance of washing one's hands with soap and water. Here we are. Welcome to, this is where I paint. And I paint on one painting at a time because painting rooms is, for me, is a visceral process of feeling the space and the light over a long period of time and watching it grow in the canvas. I work in the same place that I live, in the living room. I designed this whole space myself, all to be a part of this wall where I'm painting a painting of a room. I like to work in skin tones, thinking all the time that the room is human. This painting is almost finished. I've been working on it for a long time. And it is a pavilion down by the water, much like we are now, but on the other side of the Oslofjord. And I'm seeing it from the outside in. It doesn't really look like this in real life. Actually, for 20 years, I built my rooms physically. And after 20 years, I began just using a photograph as an inspiration. But the details are made up, but they mustn't look like that for the viewer, because I want you to believe in the room that I'm painting, that it actually does exist. But it is very much my rooms and a reflection of where I want to be for a long time, because it takes a long time to paint these paintings. Here we are at the Folk Museum in the new exhibition called Tidsrom. I was commissioned to paint this painting to tell about the exhibition of 300 years of time. The story I'm telling here is about an old room with a new light. Light never ages. This painting welcomes us in, was my idea. This exhibition tells the story of Norway in the course of 300 years through objects. And I was asked to paint a portrait of a girl to bring life to the objects. And this girl was from Holmestrand and born in 1751, Maren Ida Lorentzen. And in fact, we are related and 200 years apart. I painted her kind of like myself when I was young. I took that liberty because there were no photographs of her and no paintings either. And she's sewing, which is likely something that a girl from Holmestrand in the 1750s did. Among wealthy Norwegians at the time, it was common to have a lavish and elegant parlor room. The room was originally furnished by a young newly married couple in 1760. Here they welcomed guests and conversed and drank endless cups of tea. The wall murals depicting ports in the Mediterranean suggest that they were well-traveled and cosmopolitan. The half-open doors piqued my curiosity about what secrets might be hidden in the rooms beyond. This is a self-portrait from 35 years ago. I was young in the late 60s. I was a very determined young woman with a punk haircut and the leather vest. We denied everything feminine. It's only recently that I have painted paintings that are not very masculine. This is my other studio in the garden, and here I do my groundwork and my drawing, and I work with my pastels. And these objects here have been with me for years and years. I've painted them so many times in different angles. When we speak of a chair, we talk about the arms, the legs, the back, because after all, they are echoes of human form. And we live in this space that is a room, just as animals live in nature. And light gives us life. This is my pastel table, and I have every hue you can buy of grays and beige and a rainbow of colors here. And this here is a jewel because it's pastel that I got from Blåfallverkets museum. That is the finest cobalt ever made. They produced 80% of the world's use of cobalt blue, that little spot on the map in Norway. And I use it in my pastels very carefully, but it's very poisonous too. It's impossible to define where that creative spark comes from, but history fascinates me, and old rooms where people have lived and loved. I feel their presence there still. When I discovered that the oldest existing dwelling house in wood in the world is at the Folk Museum, I couldn't believe that I didn't know that the oldest dwelling house in the world in wood, one can just walk inside of and touch and be in. And so I did this. The viewer doesn't have a preconceived idea about how the light falls in the room. So I can really do whatever I want. It's a given in a room with the walls and the floor. The floor must be level, or else the viewer gets a feeling of insecurity. And the walls must be upright, but the light can do anything I want it to do. And so here it makes this pattern, this echo, and dances across the room. I can do whatever I want with the light. I can have it come in from two different directions, and that tells a story. The light is really up to my imagination. That's fun.